and welcome to Quippings Disability Unleashed, our Midsummer Queer special. Tonight is about desire. It's about disability as sexy, as desirable, as valuable, as pride-filled, but it's also about speaking back to and dealing with some of the difficulties of living a marginalised identity as a person with a disability who is also queer.
I walk with a cane, I am constantly in pain, and I tire quickly. This means I am probably not the top of your dreams, but dreams are always far away and untouchable anyway. Whereas I am here, and I'm soft, and I am strong, and I know a lot about my trade. Despite what you see in porn, there's no right or wrong body for rope bondage. You're forgiven if you thought otherwise, if you thought only thin, able-bodied, cisgender women get to be bound, and even when they are, it's always tight and restrictive. Any body is ripe for bondage if you want it.
It doesn't bother me as much anymore, but I don't forget it. Now I often just reflect. Cheerily, I sort of think to myself, oh you. Silly fuck. If he was here, I'd probably say something along the lines of this. Look inside your tiny mind. Now look a bit harder, 'cause we're so uninspired, so sick and tired of all the hatred you harbor. So you say it's not okay to be gay. Well, I think you're just evil. You're just some racist who can't tie my laces. Your point of view is dead evil. Fuck you very, very much. 'Cause we hate what you do, we hate your whole crew. So please don't stay in touch.
And I didn't really know how sex was supposed to feel, but I thought to myself, was this what sex felt like? I asked myself, does this mean that I want to have sex with girls? I sat up in bed and I looked at my beautiful friend asleep beside me. I love you so fucking much, I thought to myself fiercely. I was confused and very, very aroused. When my friend woke up, she looked up at me through sleepy but bright and big brown eyes. She smiled at me with a new shyness. I looked down at her in a similar way. What did you dream about, she asks. Being with a girl and loving it? I'm all tingly. You? She sits up and we stare at each other a moment. I dreamt that too. We look at each other. I should have kissed her then and there. I should have done a lot more. And every time I told that story to a lesbian friend of mine, they're always like, you totally did it, right? Like, you totally went for it. I'm sad to say no, but the erotic fan fiction of that moment is in the works.
When people long for a world where we can live freely without judgment. My darling Mum says I make things harder by being alternative. Bless her.
I thought I'd make use of my disabled parking permit and park in the designated space accordingly. I turn my car into the spot and come to a stop. I look up and there are two elderly ladies standing in front of my car, staring at me. I open the car door slowly, as if it weighs a ton. I pick up my right leg, straining with the effort, and drop it hard on the ground outside the car. I look up as earnestly as I can, give a big smile, and say, "Hi." As I say this, the two women seem to notice something very interesting behind my car.
Dicks, they can be hands, they can be feet, they can be faces, they can be strap-ons, they can be fingers, ears, miscellaneous objects, national monuments, church steeples. Dick sucking is imagined and reimagined as a particular kind of power relations. The dick sucking often gets marked as a submissive act, but it is not a passive one, for there is always the impending threat of a bite. I have enough dicks that if she were to bite me, I could live to fuck another day. Disposable dicks. Dicks which match my outfit or my hair. Small dicks that leave her wanting more. Massive dicks that penetrate her to the core. Dicks which can be concealed. Travel dicks, soft dicks, hard dicks, dicks with big balls, dicks that don't even look like dicks at all. So, is this queer privilege? To have so much dick? To use so many dicks with gay abandon? This is freedom of choice. This is what the right wing is so worried about.
However, I would say this. In the medical world, my bisexuality is often overlooked. When a doctor asks me about my sexual history, and they find out I have mostly been with women, there is an awkward pause where I almost feel like I need to justify why I need help with my chronic pelvic pain. I mean, if I was straight, it's just granted that of course I would want to be penetrated by my boyfriend's penis. But for example, when I met with my pelvic physio for the first time, who clearly had no understanding of lesbian sex, the underlying tone throughout the discussion kept returning to the fact that the goal of treatment was to get me to a point where I could start having sex with men again. I had to point out to her that actually my goal was to have sex with my then girlfriend without crying out in pain when she fingered me. After that nice awkward discussion, I left her office feeling really embarrassed that I needed to say that. And when I was waiting to pay at the reception, surrounded by posters about sexual health, picturing men and women embracing each other, it made me feel so very othered.
Want a bite?
need to let you in on a secret. Little People of America, as a short person of moderate looks, is the one place that I'm pretty much guaranteed to get a shag if I want one. And I can assure you that's not a daily occurrence. I'm just not sure that I ever expected mine to come in the form of a 5'8", beautiful, long-haired Nebraskan security guard called Susan. I'm not quite sure how, but at the end of the night I ended up in her hotel room, in her bed, not naked, yet. And I remember she ever so gently straddled me, and then she kissed me. It was like something I'd never experienced before in my life. Soft skin to soft skin, and not a prickle in sight, and a tenderness that I've only ever experienced with a woman. I never wanted it to end.
Retard is not just a word or an insult. It's a weapon. An act of violence against people with disabilities. It drives people to the fucking edge. It kills people. You, my friend, are an ableist cunt. I'm not taking your violence anymore. I'm calling it out boldly, unapologetically. I won't take it anymore. It stops with me, and it stops with you now.